Cham, and I'm very passionate about AI in Moldova. We've been doing quite some stuff here. I will kindly ask my partners in crime for this panel to join me on the stage as per the images on the screen. Let's bring the images back, the pictures first. Guys? Well, yeah. So we have Salome, Olena, and Irina on stage with me, which is quite representative in terms of gender distribution when we talk about AI, right? Now, before we get into anything else, I'd like to hear, and I think we all would like to hear your thoughts on two questions. Now we can bring the questions. And if we can make it work as a poll, please. Just put present there. Push present. Present in the corner, yeah. Now we have really very brief questions, but it will help us understand how do you feel about this. The first one is, to which extent we can actually trust AI? Is it trustworthy for critical areas like health, safety, democracy? Or are we moving too fast without necessarily considering ethical considerations? As many of you as possible to, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so we have 4 options from one pretty radical from one side to the other one, basically from full trust to we're not ready to trust at all. And most in the audience are feeling like me, cautiously optimistic. I'm also not really supportive for the full trust in AI, and I hope to hear in the panel why we should be more trustful, or maybe not, right? So we have 18 of you who have voted. Cool. And now let's maybe go to the second question. Now, who do you think has and will have the real power in terms of AI? Are the architects of intelligence, builders of AI, those who will actually have the real power? Or the guardians of the systems, the regulators? Who is going to, oh, you disagree with the question?
No, I'm just feeling sad.
Feeling sad for the...
I want to say guardians of the system.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Okay, cool.
Nobody trusts the regulators? No, we want the regulators, that's the point.
It doesn't work, you mean? Or? Oh, you just, okay, good. So yeah, okay, here it is. So yeah, that's Irina. No, she's not having the, oh no, she's doing it in a shadow mode. Okay, cool. So we have some views from you guys, which is really helpful because now we understand how are we actually connected to you in what we are thinking about this topic. Now, if we can go to the slide, which I will share just a quick thoughts. Putem să mergem, Olga? Slide-ul. Nu, celălalt. Slide-ul din PPT-ul. Well, before it appears, it actually has a few figures, and all of them are built around the question of trustworthiness of the AI. And the figures are basically, here it is. And you can see that where we are today, basically, I've tried to compile a few figures which seem to me as relevant when we think about trustworthiness, right? So we have what? We have a 26-fold increase in issues reported to AI repositories between 2012 and 21. We have about 4 billion euros in fines, GDPR fines to tech companies, which is showing the implications of neglecting ethical standards, if you can put it this way. Then we have higher error rates in facial recognition for darker or lighter-skinned individuals, which is again showing the importance of fairness and bias, mitigation when we talk about AI. Then we have 31% of the companies in emerging economies who actually feel that lack of explainability is a critical thing for their adoption of AI, right? Also, when we look at the 99.99999 whatever percent of adversarial attacks on AI systems exploiting the minor vulnerabilities, it brings us to the question of reliability and robustness, bringing it into the spotlight, as does the average cost of a data breach of about almost 5 million, also putting in the spotlight the relevance of the data privacy and security. And let aside that we are expecting a growth in increase in the next 5 years in terms of AI-driven attacks by 30%. Now, what the slide doesn't have is that societal and environmental well-being is non-negotiable and basically axiomatic, as axiomatic as the human agency. So putting these elements of trustworthiness together, we would like to discuss in the panel the perspectives of the 3 countries, right? We're talking Ukraine, Georgia, and Moldova, how we are placed in this regional, global to regional context, starting from the EU and going towards us as a region and us as individual countries, and see how we can collaborate in terms of having this trustworthiness built around it. Now, before I will sit there, one more thing to share. We will have 4 blocks of our discussion we'll go through. So the first one will be the regulation. What and how can or cannot it be regulated, the AI. The second one, to which extent we can build public trust in AI. And then, is there a role for public-private partnerships in trustworthiness building of AI? And we'll try to take a glimpse into the future of AI trustworthiness. Now, with all this said, I'd like to start with Irina, and the first question would be to you. With the audience reflections in mind, no pressure, what's your view on, as a ministry representative and driver of AI adoption in Moldova, what's your view on how we should go into the regulation sphere, taking into consideration the EU AI Act, for instance, or other global frameworks which we consider relevant for us as a country? Thanks.
Right. Thank you so much, Alex, also for the figures, but also because it was super insightful to see how the audience's perception about the topic of regulation and trustworthiness with the AI is. It was funny to me to almost not see anyone trusting regulators, but I also get why this is happening, because there is always this polarization between innovators who want the most amount of liberty when it comes to operationalizing AI, and then there's the regulators who are trying to be as safe as possible. And finding that middle ground is the million-dollar question, both at home and internationally also. Moldova, at this point, is poised at a perfect timing when it comes to regulating, in one way or another, artificial intelligence, because we have an emerging ecosystem in the sense. We don't have any formal regulation as of yet, but given the fact that we are looking to become a EU member state, our vision is to align our national regulations with the EU standards, but to contour them around the needs of the national ecosystem. So here's the funny part, because we're not a member state yet, so we have this window of opportunity, also given the fact that the country is small scale, to become a perfect sandbox for AI testing. But with the note that in a couple of years, when we become a member state, and I'm positive that we will be, the testing will have to stop because all the operationalizing will have to be aligned with the EU standards. So what we have at this point, to make that clear, we have a white book on AI and data governance, which sets out the blueprint for regulation and policy standards on AI and data governance in Moldova. It was co-developed with the stakeholders that we have here back home, that is the private sector, the industry, which brings the talent, the public sector, international development partners, experts, the academic sectors as well as the young people. So we try to give everyone a stand at the table when shaping this document. It will be published soon enough because we are also operationalizing the webpage for the National Council on AI and Data Governance. So look out for that. And just recently, on the 5th of September, Moldova was one of the few first countries who have co-signed the Council of Europe Framework Convention on AI, Human Rights, Democracy and Rule of Law. So this is our first formal commitment to align our regulations with international and European standards. Thank you.
Thank you, Irina. And that is actually offering a good opportunity for Olena to jump in and to share. Well, given the difference in our situations, the sad difference in our situations as countries as of now and the tough times Ukraine is going through. Still, I was talking on another occasion yesterday with also our Ukrainian friends about how the things are happening on the real estate side, which is, well, it's stone and glass. Here is different. So how do you actually do the same measures? What do you do in terms of regulating AI, given the hard situation which is right now happening in the country? And how is that maybe an opportunity actually for the country's development using AI maybe for that purpose? Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much for the invitation and for the great question. Of course, our challenge in Ukraine is war. We have approximately 7 million refugees now. We have 3.5 internally replacement persons. We have also 1.5 million of veterans who needs upskilling after the military experience, etc. So yes, and we have a huge lack of talents in any industry. So we should use AI if we want to overcome this gap and to develop our economy, our military tech, etc., etc., etc. And of course, it goes why we should to try to regulate AI usage. And this process is process of looking a balance between our current needs and EU requirements regarding AI regulation. This is why we, next slide, please. Last year, our digital ministry transformation approved the roadmap of AI regulation, and it declares the so-named bottom-up approach. It is in line with what was mentioned by Irina. It's about collaboration, negotiation between public and private sector, and it is about forming of AI culture usage, culture of responsible AI. This year, in June, our Ministry of Digital Transformation published a white book of AI regulation, and this white book includes 2 stages. Please, next slide. The very first stage, it's about nearest 2 or 3 years, and it is about different tools of self and co-regulation. For example, it's about codes of conducts for players of AI market. It's about some tools on side of digital transformation to estimate if your business is in line with potential EU regulation or not. It's about some voluntary recommendation about responsible AI usage. And the next stage, please, the next slide, it's about implementation EU AI Act. We hope that the correspondence law will be developed and adopted in 2025-26, and then it will be implemented step by step. By 2026, we hope implement 25% of AI regulation, taking into account experience of EU. As we understand that, as it was with GDPR, it will be a very strange process with very unexpected situation. So we will try to...
That's a nice pick of words, strange.
Yes. As I'm responsible for GDPR in our company, I understand. And I know. And the next stage in 2027, we hope to implement approximately 50% of AI Act regulation. And then we hope we harmonize our legislation with EU requirements in EU integration process. But we understand that this should be an evolution process, not revolution, because we have enough challenges as for now, besides of too strict regulation with huge fines, etc., etc.
Thank you, Olena. Very insightful. Salome, now going to Georgia, it's turning into an innovation hub, if you wish. And I'm curious, how does the AI Excellence Center actually supporting the regulatory efforts, if they are happening, and how they are happening as of now in Georgia?
Thank you, first of all. Thank you for inviting here. Thank you, Alex, for a very interesting intro. So as for Georgia, I mean, we are still on a very initial stage of development, and we've been building innovation and tech ecosystem in the country for the last 10 years, and it is progressing. However, we need to do more in order to attract Georgian talent, and it was previously mentioned in the last panel. We've listened to that brain drain as a big problem and issue, and we face that because the majority of people who are excellent working in AI or any other field which is close to the AI, they live abroad and they have really the greatest opportunities there, and we need to find ways how to attract them back, how to build the talent pool within the country so we raise our competitive advantage. So as from the regulatory perspective, we are not currently regulating AI, so there is no legislation, but it's on the way, it's in the process, loading, and we plan to elaborate the first strategy on AI for the country, and the strategy will consist of 5 main pillars, and ethics and trustworthiness of AI is one of the major big chunk of it. So these pillars will cover major topics, which is like implementing AI into the different areas of life. And on top of that, we plan to build AI Excellence Center that will serve as a regional hub for AI startups, which will provide them opportunities to develop AI solutions. And we are proud that the most successful startups from Georgia, they work in AI, and we want to increase the number of those startups. And also, we due to the good tax regime and incentives, we also want to attract just talent, not only Georgians, but the foreign talents to the country. So they're based in Georgia. Georgia is well known for its ease of doing business. It's a good business environment. So we plan to basically attract everyone to the country. And we hope this center will support spillover effect for everyone. And this also includes how we build public awareness in the country in general, and how we upscale or reskill people, and the educational part of it, it is huge. So that's for now, I think.
Thank you. And actually, I'd like to catch a bit those last words you've said about public awareness and education and trust, basically, of the public. So going into the next topic of our discussion today, about trust and public trust in AI, because talking about the as opposed to the regulators are actual users of the AI or potential users of the AI, which is the public. Now, to which extent, from what you hear, Irina, as of now, we can speak about public trust in AI in Moldova? I mean, just remembering our common conference half a year ago in this very room, but broader than that, where do you see we are standing as of now in terms of public trust in AI?
Right, so trust and trustworthy AI means different things to different people. To some it links to accountability, to some it links to awareness, to some it links to long-term vision, sustainable development goals, to some it links to confidence in the system, to some it links to just basically understanding why do I even need this in my life? And this is really the question that people most often ask, ranging from the general public and going up to the civil servant within the government. I was listening to a podcast this week, and one of the AI experts on that panel was saying that he doesn't consider himself to be an optimist when it comes to AI adoption and AI trustworthiness, but he's more of a pessimist with positive actions. And in this sense, I could really relate to how after a rapid diagnosis that we did recently within the government, what the perception generally is. So the figures that we had is that almost just 1/3 of public servants across the government of the Republic of Moldova are open to adopt and implement AI solutions within their daily work, which brings us to the understanding, following a much in-depth review that we did, that we need to work more on awareness, and we need to work more on education, and we need to work more on actual use cases. And from a discussion that I had yesterday, we need to work with the people. So I would say that at this point, the public sector in Moldova is going towards being much more open than, I guess, before, in terms of trusting that AI can help and can enhance their daily work and their life in general, in terms of reduction of times that they use on routine tasks and whatnot. But I think that with concerted efforts that we have done throughout the last year, specifically with the conference that we did on AI and big data, with the awareness campaigns that we're starting to do, with some of the trainings that we did, we're building that ecosystem that is going to propel the public sector into, hopefully, when we do the same diagnosis next year, to have the figures much higher than we have them this year. But it is, nonetheless, again, not pessimistic, but with optimistic actions. I'm looking forward to engaging more with the public sector and building that trust and optimism within them. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Irina. And I was seeing Olena nodding her head during the whole speech you just gave. So I think it's similar in Ukraine, or is it different to a certain extent?
It's like similar,
Okay.
I guess. And yes, please slides about public trust. Next one, please, and next one, and next one more. Yes, it's the result of sociological research last year conducted in Ukraine. Approximately 50% of people have positive attitudes toward AI, and approximately 73% guess that AI could help do our life easier. So it's good social attitudes, as for me, regarding AI. The next slide, please. And also we have not only positive attitudes, but also have a positive experience. As according to the research conducted this year, Ukraine had the second place in quantity of all startups, AI startups, in marketing and in engineering, etc., etc. So we have not only attitudes, we also have some experience, and great experience. And next slide, please. But of course, we have a big threats of deepfakes, and we need, as Irina mentioned, upskilling. We should form AI literacy, and government, Ministry of Digital Transformation, big companies like Google, Meta, etc., conduct a lot of programs for different specialists, for educators, for engineers, for marketing, etc., IT specialists in AI, to upskill in AI usage. At the same time, we have a lot of programs developed AI hygiene or AI literacy in fighting deepfakes, as we had a huge number of deepfakes in social media, on Telegram channels. Telegram is one of the main media for our people in Ukraine. I understand that it has Russian roots, however, our people use it. And on the slide you can see a good guide developed this year regarding counterfeit deepfakes and propaganda, Russian propaganda. It is accessible in English, so I recommend to see it, to listen it, as it could be really useful to fight propaganda and deepfakes. And one of our main tasks is to form this culture of critical thinking and to understand what is deepfake, what was AI-generated content, and what is the original content.
Thank you, Olena. And I'm thinking that we could share, actually, if you have it, we could maybe share it with our audience, so we'd make it available to everyone. Now, Salome, let's try to make the move towards the third topic and connect the public trust in AI with a partnership between public and private sector. Now, you've mentioned that JITA is supporting the AI-focused startups, right? How does that, can you unpack it a bit? How does that specifically help building trust in AI in the society in Georgia?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So yeah, we've been supporting financially, non-financially, through trainings, different boot camps, etc., acceleration or incubation programs, startups, which basically are doing AI tools. So this is kind of, as I mentioned, like spillover effect. So if we have many startups providing like different sorts of solutions and tools for the public, for the businesses, their knowledge and their trust towards AI is building. So it's strengthening this different angles of the topic, and that's how basically trust is built. And we need to feel connected to AI and see that is really useful, and it is saving my time or efforts, or it's improving my business processes. So that's how it works basically. And so throughout this year as well, we'll be building this ecosystem. We saw this cases that this trust was becoming better, and nowadays I would still say that Georgians, I think it's in our nature. I think we are at the right point, and we're the right nation to be good adopters of AI technologies, because sometimes we tend to be lazy, and I think we like shortcuts. So I think we should seize the opportunity to use and adopt this technology, and we see the effects. The government has started using AI in treasury, for example, and it is strengthening. And so I think we just need to keep the balance. You know, when we talk about innovation and tech, we know that every disruption can have like both positive and negative impacts. So we need to think through and see, have a clear vision what we want to achieve as a country or as like neighbors in the region, and we need to take safe steps toward our end goal. And I think we've come across like so many changes in technology development, right? I'm a millennial and I've seen many things. I remember those times when I love music. So when we had cassette tape players, and then we moved to CD players, and then it was iPod, and then, you know, the things are moving so fast and it will get even worse. And we need to build the adaptability of the population, general population, and we also need to keep in mind that it should be for everyone. So it's not only for me or for my family member or for a friend, so it should feed the general public good, and we always need to take account all the things that are going on around you, like sustainability, SDGs, and everything needs to fit into the greater picture.
That's, I really like the way how you put it all together and basically structured it. Now, if we try to expand a bit from Ukraine's and Moldova's standpoint, in terms of expanding the partnership, how do we see the partnership between different stakeholders, public, private, or civil society, in a form which is currently happening versus what would like to see more in the future in terms of partnerships? How would you see it, Olena?
Okay, I will start with Ukraine. So the previous slide and one previous, please. Previous. One previous. And one previous, stop. Okay, this year is really very fruitful from point of view of co-regulation. We have very interesting teams which consolidates state authorities, private companies, academics, etc., who developed some recommendation on responsible AI usage. The very first recommendation we issued was a recommendation for media, for journalists. I mentioned about deepfakes problem, etc. And we developed the recommendation, and now we popularize this recommendation among our media to at least to label with AI notice or to check fact checking, to make a fact checking and so on for all content. Now we also developed a recommendation for schools, for teachers how to use AI in schools, for advertising and marketing communication. 3 or 4 next recommendation will be about AI and intellectual properties. As I work in advertising, I understand that big clients avoid to use AI widely only because AI intellectual property issues. Nobody understands who is owner of the generated content, what risk is related with its usage. And Ukraine was the very first country which established on the legislative level in a law on copyrights that AI-generated content has the specific legal status, so named sui generis rights, and it made clear this status in Ukraine. And we hope that it boosts usage of AI technologies in advertising and marketing and so on. Also, we develop now a recommendation for developers and AI glossary as we try to adopt international AI terminology to Ukrainian language, and it is important. The language issue is sensitive for us now in Ukraine, and it is not about Russian language, but also about English, etc., etc., etc. So, as for me, this is a great example of self and co-regulation, and it is implementation of the mentioned bottom-up approach. When we try to form a culture of AI usage, not from state point of view, but also from wide society, civil society point of view. And of course, one of state initiative like application year, which was mentioned yesterday, help to believe our society in AI, as you know that this application which includes all electronic documents of Ukrainian citizens, and 2 or 3 years ago it was fantastic, but now I have my electronic passport in my smartphone, and it helped me to travel around Ukraine without any paper documents, and it is not only about passport, it's about some state services. So it's about collaboration between public and private sector.
Noted. Irina, tell us also about the sub-council.
Sure, gladly. And because the backbone of the sub-council, and this was also discussed yesterday during the first day, collaboration is key. Without collaboration, and this also stretches to public-private partnerships, it's very hard to achieve results that are timely and that are useful, that are inclusive, and that can be scaled. And in our case, what we decided to do to just kind of boost the ecosystem for AI and data governance here and to bring everyone to the same table was to set up the AI Council, the AI and Data Governance Council. So what we are meant to do with this para-institutions, and that's what I want to call it, and because it's most like a group of enthusiasts that are trying to make a change. We want to work on all the areas that have to do with building the ecosystem. We want to work on literacy, we want to work on awareness, we want to work on regulation, co-regulation, and building those guidelines, sectorial guidelines. And we want to build those public-private partnerships that will help us develop tools and use cases that will actually be useful and will be used and could be potentially scalable. And I'm very proud to say that the idea of the sub-council actually was launched after we had the regional conference earlier this year, because when I took office about a year ago, what I realized that we had all of these different stakeholders, the academia, the private sector, the public sector. Everyone was talking about AI the same way, but in different rooms. So the goal was to have them all talk together in the same room. And this is what the sub-council is actually helping to achieve. And we have, we're September now, 3 months since we launched. And I'm proud to say that by the end of this week, we will have the web platform for the sub-council operational. So this platform will also be used for awareness both locally and internationally. We'll do a newsletter that we will share with everything that we do within the country, what our partners do, what we will be doing. So I'm very excited to see how that works in the future.
As a member of the sub-council, I find it really useful in terms of bringing us all to the table, and actually quite competitive in some ways of looking for ideas on who would be doing what. So that's actually a good push for development, if I can put it this way. Now, collaboration is key, not only in country but also between countries. So we have 3 countries on stage. We'll start from you, Irina. How do you see collaboration between the 3 countries in terms of building the trustworthiness of AI? But broader sense, embracing the AI opportunities and combating AI-related risks. How would you see that?
I think collaboration is actually what made things possible up to this point. I mean, even starting from developing the very definition of AI, the unanimously or widely accepted definition of AI happened solely because of collaboration, because everyone was calling it differently. The AI Act is a result of collaboration of a number of EU member states. The AI Convention is a result of collaboration of the of the Council of Europe member states and the observers and the global community. Moldova's ecosystem is a result of collaboration of the Moldovan stakeholders and development partners. And then I think it also applies to the region as well. And it's about networking, it's about meeting the people, it's about sharing experiences and seeing how synergies can be built. Because from the presentations that we saw today, like I'm super excited to see what Ukraine and Georgia is doing and to see that what we're doing is, and also being in the same region, aligns to what other countries are doing also. And it kind of gives me that boost of optimism that we're going in the right direction. Because obviously different countries will be at different stages of AI development, adoption, regulation. But to see that we are more or less aligned or more or less at the same level kind of gives me that optimism again to see that the effort wasn't futile. Because it's hard to see the results for something like this in short term. It's obviously going to happen mid-term or long term, but at least from the figures that we have at this point, mainly because of collaboration, it's super optimistic. So this is what I envision for Moldova too.
Thank you. Olena?
For me, artificial intelligence is some form of collective intelligence. So yes, collaboration, our networking is a key point in development, not humanity, but ecosystem, Earth ecosystem as a whole. Yes, the conference like this, any international treaty, any international convention are a key point in trustworthy AI development. And last slide, please. Next one. Stop. Yes, we should collaborate, but we should also form some immunity system against any negative usage of AI, and we understand that verification tools are crucial for usage of AI. I understand that, yes, we could have any local initiatives. However, it would be great if some initiatives will be on the regional or global level. When we will implement some AI labeling, some verification tools if content is fake or if content is natural and so on. And our company is related with international initiative CP2A for content provenance, and I guess that it's a good example of this collaboration on the international level. And the next slide, please. Regarding, as for me, key elements to create trustworthy AI system was fixed in the Seoul Declaration. I guess most of country signed it, and 3 key elements as for now are safety, innovation, and inclusion. And perhaps this would be the good starting point for the further AI development from legal perspective too. And we hope that we also will sign the convention, framework convention on human rights democracy. But it takes some time for Ukraine.
We wish you good luck with that. Salome, maybe you can also talk about collaboration, but since Olena just opened the future of AI trustworthiness as a topic, maybe you could comment on both. How do you see first the extended collaboration between countries in the region in AI field, but also how would you see the future of enhancing the trustworthiness of AI usage in Georgia, but maybe broader than that?
Well, I think what's common between the three of us is that we aim for Europe and becoming members of the European Union, and that's the declaration on our countryside. So this means that most of our regulations will be aligned by the European standards. However, the collaboration is a key to everything. So we've been collaborating with other countries in different sectors, but we need to have more tools to do that. And as I mentioned, the European Union, there are so many instruments, that's why we need them. So they have tons of opportunities for countries like us to collaborate more, like EU for Innovation, new program, which was initiated now. So this will ensure that all of us, all those countries can gain out of this. And it is on the global scale, on the global perspective, also good for everyone, and especially for us. So how I see the building the trustworthy AI in the future, I mean, it is hard, to be honest. It's a tricky question because, like, you cannot completely trust something like that. It's inevitable that people won't have enough trust for that. However, like, we are different from AI, right? Humans are different from AI. We have emotions, and we need to be emotionally attached to something and have kind of feelings for it. So we need many use cases. We need to put everything into practice and to see how it works and how it can be useful for us, but in a good way, right? So it will be always hard to keep this balance and also include everyone and just not to be in the way of technological disruption. And I think there will be more things coming up. It's like if we say no to AI and we're like closed-minded, I think that the key to this disruptive technologies is to have an open-minded, but be careful and cautious during the process. And you should trust the system. It's like when you have some kind of a medical condition and you go to the doctor and you trust him, right? So, but sometimes we don't completely, like 100% trust them, right? Still, because it's very important for us, like, to be healthy and happy. But we trust them anyways because they know something better than. Maybe it's a really bad comparison.
No, it's not. But you need to know the doctor, so then you can trust even more, right?
Yeah.
If you know the doctor. So it's exactly the same awareness.
I think the logic of it is similar. So that's why we need to educate more people, and people really need to see how it works and understand it. If you don't understand a topic, then it's really hard, like, to trust it, right?
Totally.
So yeah, that's it.
Thank you. How do you feel, Irina, about the future of trustworthiness of AI in Moldova? From Irina. Oh.
Sorry.
But Olena, you're welcome to answer that as well.
So my view on trustworthiness is a bit controversial. And here I'm trying not to represent the government of our country, but mostly my personal perspective. I think trustworthiness in AI is strongly based on the fact that we are humanizing artificial intelligence and humanizing tech and dehumanizing humans. So that can erode a lot the trust in technology overall. And by this I mean, for example, for AI we say that ChatGPT thinks, imagines, that are prerequisites that are inherently human. And for people we say, I'm zooming out or I'm spacing out, and this isn't human, this is technological. So when we shift and we kind of blur a lot this kind of barrier, or not barrier, but like frontier between what is inherently human and inherently technological, it's very hard to, at one point, build trust, because you cannot build a very focused reality on what is what. And then when you have this blurry ground, trust is never going to happen. You need to set very clear boundaries where human ends and where technology starts and vice versa. And here I would like to circle back to one of the main key points that we stressed and one of the panelists stressed during our conference earlier this year, because we called the conference Humans Powered by AI, but it's also humans powered by humans. So we need to, again, invest a lot in people to enhance our human experiences, because, and also what Salome has said, it's about education, it's about awareness, it's about collaboration, because without all of those, and this applies to Moldova too, it will be very hard to build trust in technology overall and in AI specifically, because AI is that one technology that blurs the line incredibly well between what is human and what is tech. So here's what I would like to just leave you with a last thought. Just try to kind of brainstorm yourselves. Where do we set the frontier between where should we end just this whole idea of humanizing technology and just humanizing humans? Thank you.
Thank you, Irina. Olena, would you like to add something to it from your standpoint?
Perhaps for me it is important as follower, innovative lawyer, question not only what can we adopt from EU legislation regarding AI regulation, but what EU can adopt from our legislation in AI regulation. And I understand that perhaps we are not very happy with this, but we are now a big sandbox in very different kinds of experiments, and legal experiments, perhaps it could be also useful. We understood that sometimes we can cross some red lines in different spheres, and perhaps some experiments with fixing of balance between regulation and freedom of entrepreneurship, etc., could be very fruitful for market. And this is why we, yes, we develop self-regulation, we develop co-regulation, we try to put in words what could be the best practices. And I hope that it could be useful for EU and for the world as a whole. For example, our recommendation for media were translated into English and shared between media regulators in EU, and media regulators said, wow, it's cool, as EU Council adopted the similar regulation for EU as a whole in December 2023. However, each country hadn't have the similar recommendation. And I understand that, yes, we could, and it's not about Ukraine, it's about Moldova, about Georgia, could headliners for some AI regulation trends in the EU, as for me.
Great. Question, final one to all of you. How would you vote at the first question which was on the slide? If you recall the responses, I'll remind you, bring it on and just develop it as much as you can, cautiously optimistic, or put barriers everywhere so we could make ourselves protected. So what's your answer? I know, it's difficult.
It's a difficult question.
Yeah.
We are looking for a balance.
Okay, cool. Irina?
If I wear my government hat, I would say, let's regulate it. If I wear my techie hat, I'm just going to say I'm cautiously optimistic.
Okay, cool. I was suspecting that. And Salome, for you?
I mean, I work in innovation, so bring it on, even though it is scary. I think sometimes you need to make like drastic changes, and let's see where it takes us. But on the way, we can always be cautious, I think.
Okay, cool. So basically, I'd say that we are somewhere around cautiously optimistic, which is quite relatable to what the audience has voted mostly. But now I hope that the audience has also heard the arguments why the second question is somewhere between the creators and the regulators. So that's, again, about balance. With this, we have reached our time. Yeah, I guess we are quite on time. Thanks a lot for this discussion, for this panel. I hope it was entertaining and interesting for you. And Anna, what's happening next? Thank you.